And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and this is my review for Netflix's original anime series Godzilla Singular Point. This is a non-spoiler review, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to be talking about my highlights, whether you should be watching it if you love anime, that sort of thing. I will be doing an ending explained, talking about the end credit scene clip and the ending. But for now, let's jump into it. Brought together by a mysterious song, a grad student and an engineer lead the fight against an unimaginable force that may spell doom for the world. This is proper anime. It looks like anime. It has two sort of art forms. It kind of harks back to the original Akira sort of art form, anime style, very linear, very vibrant in color. Reminds me of like really original 80s anime, maybe early 90s, and kind of settles you into, oh yeah, cool, watching anime. None of that 3D CG kind of stuff. Although when it gets to the creations of the monsters, they are very weird looking and may take you a while to get into, oh, that's the design they've gone for. When you eventually do see Godzilla, you're going to be like, that's Godzilla. He's looking weird. And there's this whole evolutional storyline to do with the monsters and how they kind of grow up or change. And we've seen that a lot of times. And I think you will find, if you're a fan of Godzilla or the various kind of storylines that we've had over the last 10, 15 years of Godzilla, or way longer if you go back to the original Godzilla films, then you will know of these storylines. And I feel like this anime pulls a whole bunch of storylines and kind of amalgamates it and then does its own thing. And that I really appreciated. So, on the one hand, this is a detective story. They're trying to piece together where the song has come from. And so we're following mostly, although we follow many parts, and it's definitely a puzzle piece storyline. We're following May, and she is this undergrad student who is really, really smart, and she's trying to follow in a professor's footsteps. And the story is linear, but it leads back to the past and we have in the future. And it's actually quite technical to follow. So if you do miss out an episode, you're probably going to miss out on a whole bunch of exposition that each episode has, because there's so much dumping of information, because there's a lot to take on the story that they're trying to explain. So there's a lot of monologuing within each episode. But in between that, we have these great kind of monster fights where the humans are trying to protect themselves from the enveloping kaiju, and eventually the kaiju kind of spread over the world, as we've seen in a lot of versions of these films that we've had, or anime we've had already. The Netflix have had like 3 or 4 different Godzilla films. This one I really like because of the anime style, and I have to say, normally I would say watching the original Japanese language, and again I would say that for this, but actually if you don't like doing that, I watched half of this anime in English, the first 6 episodes, and I thought it was great, and the voice work was really good. And I watched the last half in the original language, and I thought that was great as well. So if you really want to, this is one of those times I'll say, yeah, the dubbing is great in English as well, but the original language, you always get those kind of original inflections of the tone, or the real what they were going for, because obviously that's where it's from. It does feel like the anime gets a little bit convoluted in its storylines, where it's on so many paths and it's expecting you to follow all these paths and then come together and follow all the science and using sciencey words. And at some point you will, if you're listening in English, you'll probably be able to follow it all. But if you're reading at the same time and trying to watch the anime, the animation, and you follow the animation and you miss some of the jargon, you may have to go back and catch up and go, wait, what were they explaining there? Because there's a lot of stuff in the fantasy science, the science fiction, that they're talking about things, how they affect each other. There's this interesting AI program that is involved in the main arc of the story, which I found very intriguing. In fact, my favorite character throughout the 13 episodes is this mechanoid creation that these mechanics, or yeah, I guess that you call them mechanics, have created. Jet Jaguar, who is funny and learns along the way and evolves like we're getting with these Rodan, or these various kaiju that are changing as the narrative of the story starts explaining what's happening. And so we have this evolution of characters. We have a little bit of backstory for a couple of our main protagonists, but that's not really what it's about. It's about trying to stop this singular event that's going to happen, basically, wiping out Earth. It always comes down to that, and whether we humans will be able to survive another 100 years or so and stop this event. And so that is the main arc. And so in amongst that, we have our characters just basically trying to survive. If you're in it to watch Godzilla, unfortunately, there isn't a lot of Godzilla in this Godzilla series. It's more about the detective story of this kind of song of what it means and how we get to be able to stop this event. You don't see Godzilla properly until the first, I think, until you see Godzilla episode 6 and then properly in episode 9. So kind of settle into it. There are other fantastic battles, especially with the jet. I think action sequences are really where they kind of spend some of the money, except for the big, lavish, very colorful scenes when the kaiju are about. There's this dust storyline that you follow, and those are the bits that make it unique. Other than that, there's pulling from all the other Godzilla stories that we've seen before. It is a lot of fun, but I do feel like they could have shaved down the 13 episodes, although that is kind of standard anime, 12, 13 episodes in a season, but it felt like maybe there was so much exposition, maybe they could have just removed some of it. And done an explanation episode that's some anime seem to do when they like, okay, we need to catch up our audience. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I didn't wonder about it too much, but I do feel like you could have moved probably 2 episodes and had a 10 episode, maybe 11 episode series. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. I thought it was different mostly. I'm still not sure on the designs of Godzilla. I started settling into it. It was very unique, kind of a 3D, 2D art style. When you see him, you'll know what I'm talking about. Probably taking various art forms from the various Godzillas we've seen. One thing that really stood out to me in this was the score. I thought the score was excellent. Really places you in the zone when it gets to those big moments. It hypes up. Every time you see a kaiju, there is a familiar sound that we've had in a few of the films, and even the animation sounds there. Boom, 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 boom. You'll recognize it, you'll know, but like it's kind of the sound, the score, the theme that we almost associate with the kaiju and Godzilla now. Which is a lot of fun. I'm glad they incorporated that into there. So I'm going to give this a solid B+. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this. Look out for my ending explained, kind of talking about what happened. But until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.